You settle into the driver's seat. The car is fine. The road is clear. But something is immediately, quietly wrong. The steering wheel is on the right side of the car. The lanes are reversed. Every mirror is where your hands expect empty space to be. You know intellectually that this is how it works here. You've been told, you've prepared. And yet, your body doesn't believe it. Every time a car approaches, some part of you braces. Every turn feels like a negotiation between what you know and what every driving instinct you have is screaming at you. You're not lost, you're not confused, you're just on the wrong side. The explanation, when you look it up, seems obvious. Britain drove on the left. Britain built an empire. The empire drove on the left. America rejected British customs after independence and switched to the right. Continental Europe, mostly right. Former British colonies, mostly left. It's clean. It's satisfying. It accounts for almost everything you can see on a map. And honestly, why wouldn't you believe it? The pattern is right there. But then you notice Japan. Japan drives on the left. Japan was never a British colony. It was never occupied by a power that drove on the left. It made that choice, or had it made, through a completely different chain of events. The colonial explanation doesn't reach Japan, which means it might not be the real explanation at all. Here's what almost no one mentions. Left wasn't a British invention. Left was the default. For most of recorded human history, long before cars, before empires, before any of this was a policy decision, people on roads moved on the left. The reason is physics. Most people are right-handed. A right-handed swordsman passing a stranger on a road keeps to the left. His sword arm stays free. His weapon hand faces the potential threat. Knights on horseback followed the same logic. You pass on the left, so your right hand is always ready. Medieval roads in Europe, in Japan, across most of the world, left was simply where traffic went, not by law, not by choice, by the geometry of the human body. Right-handed traffic wasn't the default. It was the exception that had to be invented. Something had to break 3,000 years of left-hand instinct. The first break came from a wagon. In the late 1700s, American freight was moving on Conestoga wagons, large, heavy vehicles pulled by teams of 4 to 6 horses. There was no driver's seat. To control the team, the driver either walked alongside or rode the left rear horse, the most powerful position from which to manage the others. Riding the left rear horse, the driver naturally wanted to stay to the right side of the road. That way he could see the clearance between his wagon and oncoming traffic. Passing on the right simply worked better from where he was sitting. Pennsylvania formalized right-hand traffic in 1792. Other states followed. The United States didn't switch because of revolution. It switched because of where a wagon driver sat. But that only explains America. Europe is a different story, and it has a different architect. By the early 1800s, most of continental Europe still moved on the left. The same medieval default, the same instinct baked into centuries of road use. Then, Napoleon started winning wars. Napoleon drove on the right. His armies moved on the right, and as he swept across Europe, through France, through the German states, through Spain, through Italy, he standardized right-hand traffic in every territory he controlled. This wasn't incidental. Left-hand traffic was the custom of the European aristocracy, the class Napoleon was dismantling. Switching the side of the road was a form of political erasure, a signal that the old order was gone, a statement written into the infrastructure itself. The countries Napoleon never reached kept their left. Portugal, left. Britain, left. The Austro-Hungarian Empire initially resisted, eventually switched after Napoleon's influence spread east. Britain was an island. Napoleon never crossed the Channel. Britain stayed left. And here is where the colonial explanation finally fits, but only as a second layer. Britain stayed left, then Britain built an empire, and its colonies inherited not a deliberate policy, but simply what Britain already had. Japan's case closes the same way. Japan modeled its early railway system on British engineering in the 1870s, and the left-hand rule embedded itself into the infrastructure before anyone thought to question it. The colonial story isn't wrong, it's just downstream of something older. Today, 78 countries drive on the right, 58 drive on the left. Draw the boundary between them on a map, and you are almost exactly tracing the outer edge of Napoleonic reach. The countries he conquered drive on the right. The countries he didn't or couldn't largely still drive on the left. Sweden held out until 1967. For decades, Sweden drove on the left while its neighbors drove on the right, a daily inconvenience at every border crossing, a relic stubbornly intact. On the 3rd of September 1967, at 4:50 in the morning, every vehicle in Sweden pulled over, stopped, and moved to the right side of the road. The whole country switched sides in a single night. Even that took until 1967. The side of the road you drive on is a fossil. It is the preserved outline of who held power over your country's roads and when. Not a preference, not a tradition anyone chose, a timestamp. Which means that feeling in the rental car, that quiet wrongness, that negotiation between knowledge and instinct isn't confusion. It's the sensation of crossing a historical boundary. You're not adjusting to a different preference. You're crossing from one political inheritance into another. From the world Napoleon remade into the world he couldn't reach, or into the deep left-hand default that Britain carried into its colonies, that Japan absorbed through its railways, that survived simply because no one with enough power ever came to change it. The next time traffic flows the wrong way, you're not lost, you're reading the road. Every road is a document. The direction of traffic is a date, and now you know how to read it. If that's the kind of hidden system you like finding, the ones that were always there, running underneath the ordinary, this channel is built for exactly that. Subscribe, and the next one will be waiting for you.